Hey guys, good morning. Here we are. We're going to be getting in the scripture today. I'll tell you what, it's just absolutely cool. This is the first day where we have official full access to the building. We already got a lot of work done, even yesterday. So if you're going to be around, make sure that you come as soon as you can after work. We got a lot of little projects going on just to get everything ready to rock and roll. But here we are. We're in Second Timothy chapter 4, finishing out part of this section, and we get to hear about somebody who really hurt Paul, who did harm to Paul. How does he respond? How does Paul deal with people who have been incredibly difficult, incredibly hurtful, and incredibly harmful to the cause of Jesus Christ? If I want to learn how to navigate these things myself, I would love to look at the life of Paul and see how he handles it. So here we are. Second Timothy chapter 4, verse 14. It says this: Alexander the coppersmith did me much harm. May the Lord repay him according to his works. You also must beware of him, for he has greatly resisted our words. Okay, so we get to learn a little bit about a guy named Alexander the coppersmith. If you go back to Acts chapter 19, we have an Alexander there. I think any way that you look at it, it's got to probably be Alexander the coppersmith. So what was going on? There in Ephesus, an incredible revival happened, and people started giving up their idols. And all the men, Demetrius was one of them. He was kind of head of the metalworking idol building group, a guild or whatever it might have been. And they came against Paul pretty harshly. So Alexander, who was a coppersmith, who would have also been in the dealings of some of the, idol making, he was a Jew, and he also apparently was some part and some affiliation with the believers at that time. So they kind of stuck him in the middle to play kind of a middleman, and ultimately he faded away. He completely missed the mark, and then we get to see that he actually ended up, in this case, doing much harm to Paul, and so therefore, this is a tough situation, because somebody who you would have hoped would have stood in the gap, somebody who could have built a bridge, ultimately put Paul's life in danger and continued to go down that path. So how do we deal with people that are going to harm us? I love how Paul responds, right? He says very simply, may the Lord repay him according to his works. This is not this sense of like calling fire and judgment down on Alexander the coppersmith. He's basically saying, listen, I want to let God judge this man. I'm going to back off on all of the things which I personally might think would have been validated through my own judgment and my own thoughts and all that sort of thing. I'm going to say no to those things, and I'm just going to allow the Lord to do the mighty, powerful work that only he can do, understanding and knowing the very heart and nature of man. Why must he do this? Why is it important that we ourselves, when we're hurt, make it a point to say, listen, Lord, you're the judge, I'm not? Well, the first thing is frankly that I don't want myself to become guilty of any harm done to anybody else. I don't want to get caught up in the bitterness and the anger and the strife and start to have a heart that's stained and unable to do the actual work of the ministry. So this allows us to say, you know what, God, you deal with that. I'm going to stay focused on the purpose. The other thing is that, you know what, you can't change a man's heart. Your anger, your bitterness, your frustration, your unforgiveness, all of that doesn't change a man's heart. It can't do it. The only one who can change a man's heart is going to be the Lord, by handing people over to the Lord, saying, listen, God, you do as you please, and you need to with this person. I'm going to move forward and move on. Allows the Lord to do a work in somebody's heart, which you don't have the ability to do. It's so important. You can't change a man's heart whatsoever. What's the other thing? He does this so that he doesn't get distracted. as well. You can see, and you know personally, and so do I, that every time we're hurt, we end up having our full blown attention focused in that one particular area. And that becomes devastating from the purpose in which God has called us to. We don't have time to waste dealing with all of those nuanced issues and problems with people's pains and hurts and all that. No, we have to move on. And the quicker that we can do that and not get distracted by the work which God has set before us, the better off we are in terms of fulfilling the plan that God has laid out for us. But so why does he then share this? If he's already moved past it and that sort of thing, well, he shares it because Timothy is his beloved son who's a pastor in Ephesus where all this went down. And so he's just letting him know, be careful. Beware, watch him, make sure that he doesn't cause any of the same harm he's caused to me. It sounds like, because right after this, it's going to talk about Paul and his defense, that likely maybe even the coppersmith, Alexander, was involved in the trial or involved in some accusations that eventually got word back to Rome, and that there was continued hurt even over a long period of time. And so we don't know all the details on that, but that is a possibility. All we know is that he does this because he wants Timothy to be careful and to be cautious of this particular issue. And that's a fair reason to communicate when dealing with people. So love you guys. Listen, be so careful and cautious how you deal with hurts. Make sure that you keep your eyes fixed on the prize and the purpose which God has called you to. Love you guys. God bless you all. Keep your eyes fixed on the Lord. And we will see you tomorrow morning. God bless y'all.